Shocking revelation. Jason discovers Britt alive at Five Poppies Resort. But Peter August's return will leave Port Charles stunned, in a stunning turn of events that will leave ABC General Hospital fans breathless. Jason Morgan's relentless search for the woman he thought was lost forever is about to culminate in the most shocking discovery in recent Port Charles history. The upcoming episodes promise explosive revelations, heart-stopping reunions, and a villain's return that no one saw coming. Jason's desperate mission leads to an emotional reunion. After catching a glimpse of a familiar face at a Paris airport, Jason Morgan has been consumed with the possibility that Britt Westburn might still be alive. His instincts, honed by years of dangerous missions and near-death experiences, refused to let him accept that the woman who captured his heart was truly gone. Following leads that took him across continents, Jason finally arrives at the luxurious Five Poppies Resort in Dalmatia, Croatia. The moment Jason lays eyes on Britt again will be nothing short of cinematic magic. After believing she had died from Heather Weber's poisoned hook attack, seeing her alive and breathing will overwhelm him with a mixture of relief, joy, and burning questions. Britt, equally shocked to see Jason, will struggle to process his unexpected appearance at what she thought was her secure hideaway. Their reunion will be intensely emotional, with both characters grappling with the reality of their situation. Jason, ever the protector, will immediately assess that something is terribly wrong. Britt's guarded behavior and obvious distress will trigger all of his protective instincts, setting the stage for the dramatic events to follow. Britt's heartbreaking truth about her captivity. When Jason demands answers about her supposed death and current circumstances, Britt will break down and reveal the devastating truth about her survival and imprisonment. She will explain how she didn't actually die from the hook attack, but was saved through mysterious circumstances that she's still trying to fully understand herself. However, Britt's rescue came at a terrible price. She will tearfully tell Jason that while she escaped death, she's now trapped in a different kind of prison. Her Huntington's disease, inherited from her father Caesar Faison, has progressed to a point where she requires daily medication to manage her symptoms and maintain any quality of life. The cruel irony is that her salvation has become her shackle. Britt will describe how she's being forced to work in a secret laboratory, analyzing and contributing to Professor Dalton's mysterious research project. Her captors have made it crystal clear that her access to the life-sustaining medication depends entirely on her cooperation and continued work on their agenda. Without these treatments, her condition would rapidly deteriorate, leaving her helpless and eventually leading to her death. The emotional weight of her confession will be staggering. Britt will explain that she's been cut off from everyone she loves, forbidden from contacting her mother Liesel Obrecht or anyone from Port Charles. She's been living in isolation, sustained only by hope that somehow, someday, she might find a way to break free from this gilded cage. Pascal, the mysterious middleman. As Britt shares her story, she'll tell Jason about Pascal, the resort manager who serves as her primary handler. Pascal has been her constant shadow, monitoring her every move and ensuring she complies with the directives from his unnamed superior. While Pascal maintains a professional demeanor, Britt has sensed an underlying menace in his interactions with her. Jason's strategic mind will immediately begin formulating a plan to help Britt escape this situation. He'll suggest that they need to get her away from the resort and find alternative treatment for her condition. However, their planning session will be interrupted when Pascal arrives with new instructions for Britt to report to the laboratory immediately. The trap is set. What Jason doesn't realize is that his rival at the Five Poppies Resort hasn't gone unnoticed. The mysterious boss controlling Britt's life has been monitoring this situation closely, and Jason's presence represents both a threat and an opportunity. In a twisted turn of events, security personnel will suddenly appear and take both Jason and Britt captive. They'll be separated initially, with Jason finding himself confined in a secure room within the resort's hidden underground facilities. The opulent exterior of the Five Poppies Resort masks a sophisticated operation, with high-tech security measures and secret laboratories that would make the WSB envious. During his captivity, Jason will be brought face-to-face with Pascal, the man who has been orchestrating Britt's daily life. Pascal will attempt to justify the operation, explaining that Britt is contributing to groundbreaking medical research that could benefit countless people suffering from degenerative diseases. But Jason's experience with manipulative criminals will make him immediately suspicious of Pascal's true motivations. Jason's growing suspicions. As Jason studies Pascal during their confrontation, something will strike him as fundamentally wrong. Years of dealing with deception and disguises in his line of work have given Jason an almost supernatural ability to detect when someone isn't who they appear to be. Pascal's mannerisms, his speech patterns, even the way he carries himself will trigger warning bells in Jason's mind. The more Pascal talks, the more convinced Jason becomes that he's looking at someone wearing an elaborate disguise. The technology exists. Jason has seen it used by the Casadinis and other criminal organizations. With sufficient resources, his gut instinct tells him that Pascal is not the middle-aged Croatian businessman he appears to be, but rather someone with a much more sinister agenda. Jason's suspicions will reach a breaking point when Pascal makes a comment that seems oddly personal, as if he knows details about Jason's life that a stranger shouldn't possess. This will be the moment when Jason decides to act on his instincts, regardless of the consequences. The shocking unmasking. In a moment that will go down in ABC General Hospital history, Jason will make a desperate lunge toward Pascal and successfully grab hold of what he now realizes is indeed a sophisticated mask. As he pulls away the prosthetic face, both Jason and viewers will be stunned to discover the identity of the man underneath. Peter August, Henrik Faison, very much alive and clearly the mastermind behind Britt's captivity. The revelation will hit Jason like a physical blow. Peter, the man who caused so much pain and destruction in Port Charles, who supposedly died years ago, has been pulling the strings all along. Peter's survival will explain so many mysterious elements of this operation. His obsession with controlling people's lives, his connection to Britt as her half-brother, and his access to the kind of resources needed to stage his own death and establish this elaborate setup all fit perfectly with his character. The discovery will reveal that Peter has been orchestrating this entire situation from the shadows. His supposed death was carefully planned and executed, allowing him to operate without the scrutiny he faced in Port Charles. He's been using Britt's desperate medical situation to force her compliance, while pursuing his own twisted agenda. Peter's twisted justification. With his disguise blown, Peter will abandon all pretense and confront Jason directly. He'll reveal that faking his own death was a strategic necessity, after realizing that too many people in Port Charles wanted him eliminated. By allowing everyone to believe he was dead, Peter gained the freedom to pursue his plans without interference. Peter will explain his complex relationship with Britt, claiming that despite their complicated history, he genuinely wants to help his half-sister. In his warped mind, keeping her alive through medical treatment while utilizing her scientific expertise represents a win-win situation. He'll insist that Britt's work on the research project could lead to breakthroughs that save countless lives, including her own. However, Jason will see through Peter's manipulation immediately. This isn't about helping Britt or advancing medical science. It's about Peter's pathological need to control and manipulate others. By holding Britt's medication hostage, he's found the perfect way to ensure her complete compliance while satisfying his own psychological needs. The battle for Britt's freedom. The confrontation between Jason and Peter will be explosive. With years of animosity and betrayal finally coming to a head, Peter will make it clear that he has no intention of releasing either Britt or Jason. In his twisted logic, Jason's arrival actually helps his plans by providing him with another valuable hostage. But Peter has underestimated Jason's resourcefulness and determination. Even in captivity, Jason will begin working on an escape plan while simultaneously trying to gather intelligence about the full scope of Peter's operation. He'll realize that the Five Poppies Resort is just the tip of the iceberg, and that Peter's ambitions extend far beyond simply controlling Britt's life. The revelation of Peter's survival will also raise urgent questions about what other supposedly dead characters might still be alive. If Peter could fake his death so convincingly, who else might be operating from the shadows? This discovery will send shockwaves through Port Charles and force everyone to reconsider what they thought they knew about past events, setting the stage for epic confrontations. Peter August's return from the dead promises to unleash chaos throughout Port Charles. Once the truth is revealed, his survival means that crimes he was thought to have paid for with his life remain unpunished. Characters like Maxie Jones, who believed they were finally free from his manipulation, will have to face the terrifying reality that their tormentor is still very much a threat. The implications for Britt are equally staggering. Learning that her own half-brother has been the one controlling her life, using her illness against her, and isolating her from everyone she loves will be a devastating betrayal. The complex family dynamics between Britt, Peter, and their shared connection to Caesar Faison will add layers of psychological complexity to an already explosive situation. For Jason, this discovery represents both a victory and a new challenge. He's found Britt alive, which fulfills his most desperate hope. But now he must find a way to free both of them from Peter's elaborate trap while ensuring that Britt continues to receive the medical treatment she needs to survive. The stage is set for a confrontation that will test every character involved and potentially reshape the power dynamics in Port Charles forever. With Peter August back in the picture, no one is safe, and the consequences of his return will reverberate through every corner of the community he once terrorized. Next, we will learn about the extraordinary legacy that Tristan Rogers has left behind through his iconic portrayal of Mac Scorpio, a character that has captivated audiences for decades. Since stepping into the fictional world of Port Charles in 1980, Rogers transformed what could have been just another supporting character into a cornerstone of daytime television drama, bringing his distinctive Australian charm and razor-sharp wit to create one of the most beloved figures in soap opera history. The recent news of Rogers' passing has left the General Hospital community and fans worldwide mourning the loss of not just a talented actor, but a true craftsman who understood the delicate art of balancing drama with humor, intensity with vulnerability, and heroism with humanity. The impact of Rogers' final scene in July, filmed months before his passing, carries even more emotional weight now, knowing it marked the end of an era that began when soap operas dominated afternoon television and continued through the streaming age. His portrayal of Mac Scorpio wasn't merely a role, it was a masterclass in character development that spanned generations of viewers, creating storylines that became part of daytime television folklore. To properly honor this remarkable legacy and celebrate the indelible mark Rogers left on General Hospital, we must revisit the 5 most defining moments that showcase why Mac Scorpio became synonymous with adventure, romance, and unwavering loyalty in the fictional universe of Port Charles. The heroic father, Robert's desperate search for Robin. 2012. The year 2012 brought one of General Hospital's most emotionally charged storylines, when Robin Scorpio Drake, Robert's beloved daughter, was presumed dead following a catastrophic laboratory explosion that shook the very foundation of Port Charles. This devastating event didn't just impact the immediate family, it sent shockwaves through the entire community, leaving viewers questioning whether one of their most cherished characters could truly be gone forever. The months that followed were filled with heart-wrenching scenes as Anna Devane and Mac Scorpio grappled with their overwhelming grief while refusing to accept that Robin's story had ended in such tragedy. When hope finally emerged in the form of cryptic clues suggesting Robin might still be alive, both Anna and Robert embarked on what would become one of their most perilous adventures together. Their investigation led them deep into the shadows of international intrigue, following a trail that eventually brought them to a seemingly innocuous Swiss clinic that harbored dark secrets. The revelation that Duke Lavery, Anna's long-lost love presumed dead, was being held captive at this facility added another layer of complexity to an already emotionally charged situation. However, it was Robert's unwavering paternal instincts that would prove most crucial in this dangerous game of cat and mouse. While Anna became understandably overwhelmed by the shocking reunion with Duke, Robert's focus remained laser-sharp on the primary mission: finding Robin. His detective instincts, honed through decades of dangerous assignments and narrow escapes, led him to explore areas of the clinic that others might have overlooked. The moment when Robert discovered the sinister Dr. Obrecht preparing to conduct experimental procedures on his daughter showcased Rogers' ability to convey a father's protective fury without saying a single word. The terror in Robert's eyes as he realized Robin was alive, but in immediate danger, demonstrated the depth of emotion that Rogers could summon, transforming what could have been a simple rescue scene into a powerful exploration of parental love. The cruel irony that Robert, having finally located his daughter, was then incapacitated by Obrecht's syringe before he could alert Anna or complete the rescue, added a layer of dramatic tension that kept viewers on the edge of their seats for weeks. Rogers' portrayal of Robert falling into a coma while desperately trying to reach Robin created one of the most haunting images in recent General Hospital history, symbolizing the lengths to which a parent will go to protect their child, even when facing impossible odds. Brotherhood forged in crisis. The introduction of Mac Scorpio. 1991. The year 1991 marked a pivotal moment in General Hospital history, when the writers decided to expand the Scorpio family tree, introducing a character who would eventually become just as beloved as Robert himself. The LQ ship explosion. a catastrophic event that served as the backdrop for numerous storylines, provided the perfect dramatic setting for one of the most memorable character introductions in soap opera history. The chaos and destruction of the maritime disaster created an atmosphere of uncertainty and danger that would prove to be the ideal crucible for forging new relationships and revealing hidden family connections. Robert's heroic efforts to rescue survivors from the treacherous waters demonstrated the selfless nature that had defined his character since his earliest days in Port Charles. However, it was his reaction upon recognizing one particular survivor that would forever change the dynamics of the Scorpio family. The moment when Robert helped a struggling man reach safety, only to immediately push him back into the water, created a scene that was both shocking and intriguing, leaving viewers desperate to understand the motivation behind such seemingly contradictory behavior. Anna's confused inquiry about the identity of the mysterious man gave Rogers the opportunity to deliver one of his most understated yet impactful lines in the series. His simple response of "my brother" carried the weight of years of unspoken history, suggesting a complicated relationship filled with unresolved conflicts and buried emotions. This introduction of Mac Scorpio to Port Charles wasn't just the arrival of a new character, it was the unveiling of a family dynamic that would provide rich storytelling material for decades to come. The rocky relationship between the Scorpio brothers that followed this dramatic introduction showcased Rogers' ability to portray complex family dynamics with authenticity and nuance. Their eventual reconciliation and the gradual development of mutual respect and affection demonstrated the power of family bonds to overcome even the most deeply rooted resentments. When tragedy later struck and both Robert and Anna were presumed dead, Mac's decision to step up as Robin's guardian proved that the Scorpio family loyalty ran deeper than any personal grievances, creating a legacy of love and protection that would define the family for generations. The birth of a legend. Robert's iconic first appearance 1980. The year 1980 was transformative for General Hospital, marking the beginning of what many fans consider the show's golden age of adventure and intrigue. Robert Scorpio's first appearance represented more than just another new character joining the cast. It was the introduction of an archetype that would influence soap opera storytelling for decades to come. The decision to pair Robert's debut with the already established and popular character of Luke Spencer demonstrated the writer's understanding of how to create immediate dramatic tension while establishing new character relationships that would prove enduring. The scene itself, Luke returning home to find a mysterious stranger sitting calmly in his living room, while casually holding a weapon, established several key elements that would define Robert's character throughout his decades-long tenure. The image of this confident Australian newcomer, comfortable enough to make himself at home in someone else's space, while maintaining an air of dangerous authority, immediately communicated to viewers that Robert Scorpio was not someone to be underestimated. Rogers' portrayal of this pivotal moment balanced menace with charm, creating a character who could be simultaneously threatening and likable. Robert's distinctive Australian accent became one of his most recognizable characteristics, setting him apart from the predominantly American cast while adding an exotic element that enhanced the show's international flavor. Rogers wielded this accent like a weapon, using it to deliver rapid-fire dialogue filled with wit and intelligence that demonstrated Robert's ability to stay several steps ahead of his adversaries. The interrogation scene with Luke showcased Rogers' talent for creating tension through verbal sparring, establishing a dynamic between the characters that would evolve from mutual wariness to deep friendship over time. The prescience of this introduction becomes even more apparent when considering that Luke had not yet embarked on the legendary Ice Princess storyline that would make him a household name. The writer's decision to introduce Robert before Luke's most famous adventure suggested their confidence in Rogers' ability to hold his own alongside the show's established stars. This early scene laid the groundwork for what would become one of daytime television's most enduring friendships, proving that sometimes the most unlikely partnerships can produce the most compelling storylines. Love's final victory. Robert and Holly's sunset departure 2024. The romance between Robert Scorpio and Holly Sutton has always represented one of General Hospital's most passionate and enduring love stories, spanning decades of separation, reunion, heartbreak, and hope. By 2024, after years of Robert finding comfort in a relationship with the intelligent and accomplished Diane Miller, it became increasingly clear that his heart remained tethered to the woman who had captured it so many years before. The complexity of Robert's emotional situation between appreciation for Diane's companionship and an unshakable connection to Holly provided Rogers with rich material to explore the nuances of mature love and the weight of shared history. The revelation that Robert and Holly had an adult daughter together added an entirely new dimension to their relationship, transforming what had been a story of romantic longing into a more complex narrative about family, responsibility, and the paths not taken. This discovery forced both characters to confront the consequences of their past decisions, while opening the door to possibilities they thought had been forever closed. Roger's portrayal of Robert grappling with the knowledge that he had another child he had unknowingly missed watching grow up demonstrated his ability to convey deep regret without falling into self-pity. When Holly returned to Port Charles in 2024, the atmosphere crackled with the electricity of unfinished business and unspoken desires. The reunion between these two legendary characters carried the weight of decades of separation, disappointment, and persistent hope. Rogers and his co-star created magic in their scenes together, reminding longtime viewers why this couple had captured imaginations and hearts for so many years. Their chemistry remained as potent as ever, proving that some connections transcend time and circumstances. Robert's ultimate decision to join Holly rather than watch her leave yet again represented a triumphant conclusion to one of soap opera's greatest love stories, the scene of the couple boarding a private jet, finally choosing each other over the obligations and complications that had kept them apart, provided Rogers with a fitting farewell that honored both his character's romantic journey and his own remarkable career. This departure into the sunset carried symbolic weight, suggesting that true love, when finally embraced, can conquer even the most persistent obstacles. The foundation of everything. Robert discovers Robin is his daughter. 1985. The 1985 storyline that revealed Robin as Robert's daughter stands as perhaps the most significant character development in Mac Scorpio's entire narrative arc, fundamentally altering not just his individual story, but the entire fabric of relationships within Port Charles. This revelation transformed Robert from a charming adventurer into a devoted father, adding layers of vulnerability and responsibility that would define his character for the remaining decades of his tenure on the show. The masterful way this storyline unfolded demonstrated the soap opera medium at its finest, taking time to build emotional investment before delivering a payoff that would resonate for years to come. The setup for this revelation was brilliantly crafted, with 6-year-old Robin living under the assumed name Saltini, creating a mystery that observant viewers could piece together alongside Robert himself. Rogers played Robert's growing suspicions with perfect subtlety, showing a man whose detective instincts were beginning to override his emotional defenses. The gradual realization that this precocious child might be his own daughter showcased Rogers' ability to convey internal conflict without relying on dramatic outbursts or obvious emotional displays. The pivotal conversation between Robert and Anna, where he questioned whether Robin's surname should actually be Scorpio, represented one of the most delicately handled revelations in soap opera history. Anna's inability to deny the truth spoke volumes about the weight of the secret she had been carrying, while Robert's careful probing demonstrated his respect for Anna's position, even as his need to know the truth intensified. Rogers portrayed Robert's emotional journey from suspicion to certainty with remarkable restraint, allowing the magnitude of the revelation to build naturally, rather than forcing it through melodramatic displays. The long-term implications of this discovery extended far beyond the immediate family unit, affecting relationships and storylines for decades to come. Robert's transformation into a protective father figure influenced every subsequent adventure and romance, adding stakes and emotional depth to situations that might otherwise have been mere plot devices. The fact that Robin wouldn't learn Robert's true identity until her teenage years created an ongoing source of dramatic tension and emotional complexity that provided rich storytelling opportunities for multiple generations of writers and actors. Tristan Rogers' portrayal of Mac Scorpio represents one of the most complete and enduring character developments in the history of daytime television, creating a legacy that transcends the medium itself to become part of popular culture mythology. For decades of adventures, romances, revelations, and relationships, Rogers consistently brought depth, intelligence, and authenticity to a character who could have easily become a stereotype, but instead became an icon. His ability to balance Robert's roguish charm with genuine vulnerability, his quick wit with heartfelt emotion, and his adventurous spirit with deep-seated loyalty created a multidimensional character who remained compelling and relevant across multiple generations of viewers. The 5 moments highlighted here represent just a fraction of the memorable scenes Rogers created during his remarkable tenure, but they effectively demonstrate the range and consistency that made Robert Scorpio such an enduring figure in Port Charles. From the heart-stopping drama of the Swiss clinic rescue to the touching revelation of paternity, from the explosive introduction of family dysfunction to the romantic triumph of choosing love over convenience, Rogers navigated every emotional landscape with the skill of a master craftsman who understood that great acting comes not from grand gestures but from truthful moments that resonate with universal human experiences. As General Hospital continues without the physical presence of Tristan Rogers, his influence on the show's DNA remains indelible, woven into the fabric of storylines yet to be told and relationships yet to be explored. The character of Robert Scorpio will live on in the memories of fans who grew up watching his adventures, in the ongoing stories of his children and grandchildren, and in the standard of excellence he set for future generations of soap opera performers who aspire to create characters as beloved and enduring as the legendary Australian spy who made Port Charles his home.